I grew up with my grandparents. My dad died when I was 5. It's a really nice way to start a successful speech, right? But I grew up with them, and they would watch TV, and the TV shows that they would watch would be the TV shows that they watched when they were young. So my 10-year-old self was watching shows that they watched when they were not more than 10. Some of you might recognize the name, some of you may not. That's okay, but like Leave It to Beaver, I Love Lucy, these types of sort of comedic shows in the 50s that had this moral story to kind of go along with it. And a lot of these shows, they had children that would have to they'd have to clean their room, they'd have to do their homework, they'd have to apologize to the neighbor for breaking the window with a baseball or whatever it might be. And they would say to their mom or dad or whoever, and they go, "Oh, gee, Mom, do I have to apologize? Do I have to clean my room? Oh, gee, Dad, do I have to study?" We're kind of like that, aren't we? Do I have to go to that 8 a.m. class? Do I have to study chemistry? Do I have to go to work? Do I have to wear pants? We were online for like 2 years, right? So do I have to now? Do I have to do these things? Our brain compartmentalizes, just like a file on a computer. We create a document and we put it in the file, like last year's taxes or the taxes I've never done or whatever it might be. We create these files and these files get bigger, and our brain does that a little bit as well. So if you're on a date, or if you're out with family, you're at this nice restaurant, and you knock over a drink and it ends up all over the server and all over each other, and you go, "Oh, I'm so stupid. Oh, I'm so clumsy." Your brain goes, "Oh, this is a stupid, clumsy moment. I'm going to put this in the stupid, clumsy file." And it creates a pathway that makes that file bigger and bigger. It's all the stupid and clumsy moments that we have in our lives. And it sort of reminds us of all the other times we were stupid or clumsy, or all the other times we were told we were stupid or clumsy. And the have to is kind of the same way. I have to wake up early to go to class. I have to wake up early to teach or to get the kids to school or whatever it might be. And it goes into all the other have tos. And what's the problem with have tos? It's disempowering. Doesn't really feel like we have a choice, does it? So what if we could change that word? Not change the feeling, because this isn't about toxic positivity and dismissing negative or unhealthy or bad feelings. If you've got a feeling, feel it. Sit with that energy. Anger or depression or sadness or whatever it might be, that's okay. But we can still start thinking a little bit differently about it. And when we do that, eventually our feelings will follow suit. So maybe you don't have to study chemistry. You get to study chemistry. Maybe you don't have to go to that 9 a.m. meeting or 8 a.m. meeting. You get to go to that 8 a.m. meeting. See, we don't have to get married. I mean, in some cultures, maybe. But one doesn't call up the parent and go, "Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, I have to get married." You say, "Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, I'm getting married." It feels empowering. We have more of a choice when we get to do things as opposed to when we have to do things. We get to have dinner with the in-laws. We get to wear pants. We get to listen to our teenager about their feelings or about their struggles. And teenagers, we get to listen to our parents when they talk to you about what it was like when they were young, when they were your age. What if we could take that little word from have to and turn it to get to? We get to listen to one another. We listen to people all the time, don't we? We listen to teachers, we listen to podcasts, we listen to music, we listen to our parents, supposedly. We listen to your kids. But what if we get to give someone else the feeling of being heard? So when we leave here today, and you have the conversations about the event or about school, which is almost out, and some of you are graduating, you don't have to go out to eat and have a conversation. You get to. And when you have that empowering thought, that doesn't just change you, that changes everyone around you. Nicholas Christakis, who's a sociologist, he's determined and theorized, actually proven out, that our influence extends to 3 degrees. What does that mean? It means if I'm nice to Tina, who's one of the organizers of the event, or Tinklin, I don't know who's in the audience right now, all I see is lights. But if I'm nice to them, according to Nicholas Christakis, they feel a little bit better about themselves. But the way I treat them affects them and their friends. So when you get to listen to your teenager, maybe that affects your teenager's ability to listen and to positively affect your teenager's friend, which can, in effect, affect your teenager's friend's parents, neighbors, or somebody else who may live in another country. We are more influential than we think. And the beauty of that, see, it can be good news and bad news, but the beauty of that is that we can take that little word, I have to, and turn it into, I get to. And I'll leave you with a final story. I had this revelation. I'm probably not the first person to think of switching this little word, but I was really excited when I thought about it 6 months ago. I thought, oh, this is speech material. And as a speaker, I'm always looking for that. And I walked into my daughter's room, and she's in university, and which means I rarely see her. And I popped my head into her room, and I said, hey, how's it going? And she goes, I have to get up and go to work in the morning, because she worked at a coffee shop. And I said, you know, and then I gave her this TED Talk that you all just heard. And she looked at me. We think exactly alike. We could finish each other's sentences. We feel the same. We're empathetic. Big picture details confuse us. So we think in pictures and creative stories and all this. And she looks at me with wisdom, and she thought, oh my gosh, my dad is so smart. She looks me dead in the eye and says, no thanks, Dad, I'm okay. And I said, you know what? That's okay. You have a choice to say whether I have to go to work or I get to go to work. Just by knowing the fact that you have that choice gives you more empowerment over your life, so you're not just letting life lead you by the collar, but you're taking it and saying, I'm going to choose to have to. I'm going to choose to be angry about this. And that's okay, because you're making that choice. Now, it's a little bit harder to do than to say, because the other day I was chatting with a friend and they said, what are you doing? And I said, well, I'm having to prepare a speech. And they responded and said, isn't it great you get to prepare for something that you love to do? And I went, and I scrolled up and went, oh my gosh, I said I have to prepare a speech. I'm writing a speech about I have to prepare a speech about how you shouldn't use I have to, but I get to. I had this existential crisis and said, you're now in my speech. So it is hard to do, but if we can remember at moments, maybe you'll do better than me, to say when we are faced with that moment where we feel like we don't have a choice, to say, I don't have to do this thing, I get to. And when you leave today, you get to extend conversations and relationships and extend what's happening today into success in your own life and watch it spread from your own life around to 3 degrees of separation, which means, in effect, as some of the students talked about today, that is a small but mighty way all of us can change the world. Thank you.